I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. She's the kind of woman who's always been a little bitchy, always quick with a snarky comment or a sharp retort, but I honestly thought that was just her personality. We had our good times, and I genuinely loved her, or at least I thought I did. Things started to feel off in the last few months, little things, really. She'd be more distant, distracted, sometimes even cold for no reason I could figure out. I'd catch her hiding her phone, quickly shutting it when I'd come near. She'd brush it off, say I was paranoid or that I was imagining things. But I knew something was going on. Then about 2 weeks ago, I noticed her behavior had gotten even worse. She was ignoring my calls, missing dates we set, and suddenly she was always busy when I asked about her day. Her excuses were lame, just work stuff, bad day, stressed out. But I could tell she was hiding something. On top of that, she started dressing differently, more provocative, more seductive when she thought I wasn't looking. I brushed it off initially, thinking maybe she was just trying to spice things up, but the gut feeling never left me. One night I decided to check her phone. I know I probably shouldn't have, but I was desperate. I figured maybe I'd find something that explained her behavior, something I could confront her about. So I snuck into her purse while she was in the shower. I found her phone, unlocked because she's terrible at password keeping. And what I saw made my stomach drop. There were dozens of messages, flirty, dirty texts. I saw explicit photos of her with someone named Mike, and the worst part, the timing was perfect. They had been messaging each other nonstop, even during the day I was supposed to be at work. And here's the kicker, these messages were mostly about sex, plans to meet up, and how much they missed each other. It was like a punch to the gut. I couldn't breathe. I stared at the screen, trying to process what I was seeing. I felt anger, betrayal, heartbreak, everything hitting me all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face for so long? And then I saw something that made my blood run cold. A message from her saying they were planning to run away together that very night, my proposal night, the night I was supposed to be proposing to her. She was planning to leave me, right then and there, with her lover. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. All the signs were there, but I never wanted to see it. I never wanted to believe she could do this to me, to us. I was frozen, staring at that phone for what felt like forever, trying to catch my breath. My mind was racing, trying to figure out what I should do next. I knew I needed to confront her, but I also knew that whatever I said, my world was about to shatter. All the trust, all the plans we made, everything I believed about her. It was all slipping away. I never thought I'd be the guy to find this out like this, not on the night I was planning to ask her to spend the rest of her life with me, and now I was left standing in the wreckage, wondering if I ever really knew her at all. I didn't sleep that night. Honestly, I don't think I could have even closed my eyes if I tried. My mind kept circling back to those messages, that plan she had with Mike, the fact that she was about to leave me right when I thought everything was perfect. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind, so naive. She was always bitchy, yeah, but I thought that was just her attitude. Never in a million years did I think she was capable of cheating, much less planning to run away with someone else. I decided I couldn't wait anymore. I had to see her face, hear what she had to say, even if I already knew the answer. So around dawn, I woke her up. She was still in bed, half asleep, and I just stared at her for a few seconds before I said, "Lisa, I need to talk." Her eyes shot open, and she looked annoyed, like I was bothering her while she was still in her own little world. I told her I knew everything about the texts, about Mike, about her plans to leave that night. Her face instantly changed. She looked caught, but that bitchy smirk came back quickly, like she was trying to spin her way out of it. "Oh, Jake," she said with a sarcastic laugh. "You're overreacting. I don't know what you saw, but you're making a big deal out of nothing. Maybe I was just talking to a friend. Lots of people do that, especially when they're stressed or bored. It doesn't mean—" I cut her off. "Don't lie to me, Lisa. I saw the messages. I saw the pictures. You're planning to run away with him tonight. How could you do this? How could you betray me like this?" She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "Betray you? Seriously? You're making it sound like I cheated on you with some random guy at the grocery store. Mike's just a friend, okay? We've been talking, yeah, but it's not what you think. You don't understand the whole story." I swear I haven't done anything." Her voice was so full of lies I could taste it. I could see right through her. I told her that I didn't want to hear her lies anymore, that I knew she had been planning this, that she was a bitch for throwing everything away, for betraying me when I thought we had something real. She kept insisting she was innocent, that I was overreacting, that Mike was just a good guy who she confided in. But I wasn't stupid. I knew her pattern. She always lied her way out of things. That's what she did best. That moment was like a punch to the gut. I felt a mix of rage, sadness, and confusion all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face knowing I'd find out? My mind kept flashing back to all those times she was bitchy, dismissive, cold. Maybe she was hiding all of this from me, just waiting for the perfect moment to dump this mess on me. And the worst part, I could tell she was already planning her exit strategy, trying to make me doubt myself, trying to turn things around so maybe I'd let her go without a fight. But I wasn't going to let that happen. I told her I was done, that I did want to see her face anymore, that she could go be with her friend if that's what she really wanted. I told her I'd been a fool, that I thought I knew her, but I clearly didn't. She yelled back, called me paranoid, said I was crazy for accusing her of something so serious. But I didn't care. I was already starting to see her for what she really was: manipulative, selfish, a liar. That day, my world changed. It was like I was standing in the wreckage of something I thought was real and solid, and now I had to pick up the pieces and figure out what came next. I felt so hurt, so betrayed, and honestly I was furious. I never wanted to believe she was capable of this, but now I had no choice. She was a bitch, plain and simple, and I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to look at her the same way again. After I kicked her out of the house that morning, I didn't know what to do with myself. My head was spinning, and all I could do was sit on our couch, staring at the spot where she'd been sleeping. Just hours before, the silence was deafening. My heart felt like it had been ripped out and stomped on. I kept replaying everything: the texts, her lies, her smirk when she tried to deny it. I was angry, yes, but mostly I felt betrayed, crushed. How could someone I loved, someone I trusted, plan to leave me for another man? And not just leave, run away with him, right on my proposal night. It felt like a sick joke, but I knew it was real. I started to think about her personality, her bitchiness, her sarcasm, the way she always made excuses. It was like she was a master manipulator, always twisting things to her advantage. I had always known she was a little bitchy, but I never imagined she'd be capable of this level of deceit. She lied about everything, about her feelings, about her intentions. Maybe she had been lying to me all along. Maybe all those years I thought I knew her, I was just fooling myself. That thought cut even deeper. I decided I had to do something. I couldn't just let her walk away with Mike, with my life, with everything we had built. I remembered the messages I'd seen on her phone, and I knew I needed proof, more than just her word. So I started digging through her social media accounts, anything I could find. I wanted to know how long this had been going on, what she really thought of me, or if she even cared. I discovered more messages, late-night texts, secret plans, even pictures she sent him when she thought no one was looking. It was clear she'd been planning to leave me for weeks, maybe longer. The worst part: she had told her friends she was just stressed, or not happy, trying to cover her tracks. That night I was overwhelmed with a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd always thought she was my partner, my best friend, the person I'd spend my life with. But now I wasn't so sure of anything anymore. How did I miss all the signs? How did I let her get away with this? I kept asking myself if I was stupid for not noticing sooner, or if I'd been blind to her true nature. Maybe I was naive, or maybe I just loved her too much to see the truth. I remembered that she'd been bitchy a lot lately, snapping at me for no reason, throwing little tantrums over nothing. I thought she was just stressed, maybe a little burned out, but now I saw it in a different light. Maybe she was just preparing for this, getting me used to her coldness so I wouldn't suspect when she finally made her move. The thought made me feel sick. She had been playing me all along, and I'd been too blind to see it. In that moment, I knew I had to confront her again. Not just to hear her out, but to finally get some truth out of her. I wanted to hear her lie to my face one last time, to see if she'd even try. But deep down, I knew there'd be no real answers, only more lies, more betrayal. Still, I had to do it. I had to face her, even if I was afraid of what I'd find. I was hurt and furious, but I also needed closure. I needed to hear her justify what she was planning, to understand just how much I'd been played. So I waited until she came back home that evening. When she walked in, I looked her straight in the eyes and I told her I knew everything. I told her I was done, that I didn't want to see her or speak to her again until she could explain herself honestly. Her reaction: she looked annoyed, even angry, and insisted she was innocent. She'd been caught up in a bad situation, that Mike was just a friend, and she'd never cheated. But I didn't buy it. I knew she was lying, trying to spin her way out of it. The truth was written all over her face, and I could see she was already planning her escape route. That night, I was left with more questions than answers, a broken heart, and a very clear realization. I had been betrayed in ways I never thought possible. Somewhere deep inside, I knew everything was about to change forever, and I wasn't sure I was ready for that. The days that followed were a blur of confusion, anger, and heartbreak. I couldn't focus on anything except the fact that she had deliberately lied to me, betrayed me, and was planning to leave me for Mike. Every time I saw her number pop up on my phone, my stomach twisted. I wanted to answer, to scream at her, to demand the truth, but part of me also wanted to break down and cry. I felt so damn helpless, like I'd been sucker punched out of nowhere. How could she do this? How could she think she could just walk away after everything? I started asking myself if I ever really knew her, if I'd been blind or just stupid for not seeing the signs. She was bitchy, yes, but I always thought that was just her personality. Now I saw it differently. I saw how she manipulated situations, how she lied with ease, how she played the victim when caught in her own web. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Not just at her, at myself too, for letting myself get so wrapped up in her drama, for ignoring the red flags. One thing I couldn't shake was how she kept insisting she was innocent, that she never cheated. I argued with her, begged her to tell the truth, but she just spat out excuses. "You don't understand," she said one day, her voice dripping with false innocence. "This was all misunderstanding. Mike's just a friend. We never slept together. I swear I never wanted to hurt you. I was just stressed, that's all." And I wanted to believe her, I really did. But I saw the truth in her eyes, in her tone. It was the same look a criminal gives when caught but tries to act innocent. She was lying, plain and simple. I also started to realize how much she'd been feeding me bullshit for months. Her bitchy attitude, her mood swings, the stress she kept talking about, all of it was a cover-up, a way to hide her secret life. She'd been planning to leave for a long time, I'm sure of it now. The messages I found weren't just casual chats, they were premeditated plans, a blueprint for her to escape and start fresh with Mike. That realization made my blood boil. I began to think about her future. What was she planning to do after she left? Was she really going to run off with Mike into the sunset? Or was this just some selfish fling to satisfy her ego? I don't know, and honestly I don't think she knew either. All I know is that I was done being the fool. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I told her I wanted her out of my life, that I didn't want her to contact me again until she was honest and took responsibility for what she'd done. The hardest part wasn't even the betrayal itself. It was the feeling of being so completely discarded. I felt like I'd built a life with someone who was just pretending all along. Every moment I thought was real, every laugh, every plan we made, they all seemed hollow now. I kept asking myself if I should try to save the marriage or just cut my losses and move on. Honestly, part of me wanted to fight for it, to make her see what she was throwing away, but another part knew that people like her don't change overnight. The truth was, I'd been played, used, and I was sick of it. One night I decided I needed to get away, clear my head. I went for a long drive, played some music that made me feel something, anything. I realized I had to start thinking about myself, about healing and moving on. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, waiting for her to change or to come clean. Deep down, I knew that if she truly loved me, she wouldn't have done this. She wouldn't have planned to leave me like this while I was planning to ask her to spend forever with me. That was a wake-up call. I've always been the guy who believed in love, in loyalty, in sticking things out. But now I saw that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people just walk away, leaving you shattered, wondering if you ever really knew them. And right now, I'm just trying to pick up the pieces, figure out what's next, and remind myself that I deserve better. After a few days of wandering around like a ghost, I finally decided I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep dragging myself through this emotional hell, unsure whether to fight for us or to just let her go. Honestly, part of me still wanted to believe there was some chance she'd come to her senses, tell the truth, and maybe even beg for forgiveness. But the other part knew better. The way she lied, the way she planned to leave, it all said she was already gone emotionally. Whatever. I thought I was turning into cold, bitter realization. She'd been using me, stringing me along, and now she was ready to walk away with Mike. That realization hit me like a freight train. I sat down one night, took a deep breath, and typed out a message. I told her that I knew everything now, that I wasn't going to be a fool anymore. I said I was done, that she could take her lies, her bitchy attitude, her plans to run away, and shove them where the sun doesn't shine. I told her I deserved someone who was honest, someone who didn't lie and cheat. I even told her that I hoped she'd be happy with Mike, because I sure as hell wouldn't be waiting around for her to come back. That was the hardest part, to admit that I was letting go, that I was finally accepting that she was gone for good. The next morning, I packed a bag and left the house. I didn't want to see her face, didn't want to hear her excuses. I just wanted to get as far away as possible from the chaos she created. I stayed in a cheap motel for a few days, trying to sort out my head, trying to process everything. It was like I'd been caught in a storm and all I wanted was a little peace. During that time, I started talking to some friends, people who told me to focus on myself, to heal, and most importantly, to remember that I deserved respect. It sounds cliché, but honestly, I needed that push. I'd been so blinded by love that I'd let her walk all over me. In that solitude, I realized I had a decision to make. I could keep chasing her, hoping she'd change her mind, or I could accept that she was a liar and a cheater and move on. I chose the latter. I knew I'd never forget what she did, but I also knew I couldn't live my life haunted by her betrayal. So I started taking steps, filed for a divorce, changed my phone number, blocked her on all social media. It wasn't easy, and honestly, some days I still feel the sting of losing someone I once loved deeply. But I also felt relief, like I'd finally taken control of my life again. Looking back, I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that trust is fragile. It's easy to believe someone you love, but sometimes people hide who they really are behind a pretty face and a fake smile. No matter how much you love someone, if they're lying to your face, it's a betrayal that cuts deeper than any physical pain. I also learned that the people who are truly worth your time are those who are honest and loyal from the start. You can't change someone's character, and sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and save yourself from more heartbreak. I still get angry sometimes, at her, at myself, at the whole situation. But mostly I feel a strange sense of relief. I'm finally starting to rebuild my life, step by step. It's not easy, and I don't think it ever will be completely, but I know I'm better off without someone who would plan to betray me like that. If anything, I hope this story serves as a warning. Be careful who you trust. Look for the red flags, and don't ignore your gut when it's screaming at you that something's wrong. Because once the betrayal happens, it's not just your heart that's broken, it's your entire world. Now that I've gone through everything, I realize how much I was blind to before. Love can make you do crazy things, and I was no exception. I thought I knew Lisa, her bitchy attitude, her sharp tongue, her quick temper. But I never expected her to be capable of planning her escape, of sneaking around behind my back, of lying so effortlessly. It's like I was living in some kind of movie, except this wasn't fiction, it was real, and it tore me apart. Looking back, I see that her bitchiness was just a mask for her manipulative side. She'd get upset over little things, blow things out of proportion, and I'd try to smooth things over because I thought I was just dealing with someone stressed or overwhelmed. But it was all part of her game. She was always one step ahead, pushing me away, testing my patience, waiting for the right moment to strike. And she planned to leave, to run off with Mike, leaving me completely shattered. Honestly, I don't know how I stayed sane through all this. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry. But I also learned a lot about myself. I learned that I deserve someone who's honest, someone who treats me with respect, someone who doesn't lie and manipulate their way out of the truth. I learned that love isn't enough when it's one-sided. Sometimes you have to let go, even if it hurts like hell, because staying means losing a part of yourself. What I want to say to anyone reading this is simple: trust your instincts. If something feels off, pay attention to it. Don't ignore the red flags just because you're comfortable or because you think things will get better. Because sometimes they don't. Sometimes people hide who they really are until it's too late. And when that happens, the only thing left to do is pick up the pieces and move forward. It's not easy, and it never will be, but it's necessary for your own peace of mind. So here I am, months later, still healing, still trying to rebuild. I won't say I'm completely over it, I don't think I ever will be. But I am stronger now. I'm more cautious, more aware of the kinds of people I let into my life. And I'm grateful. I found out the truth before it was too late, because now I know what I deserve, and I refuse to settle for anything less.